we are reaching you live from Abuja. I am Olajide Bello. First, the headlines. President Tinubu directs cost-cutting measures on local and international travels of federal government officials.
The President has directed that no more than 20 individuals be allowed to travel with him. That number will be cut down to 5.
Federal government approves establishment of world-class textile industry in Benue State. Succor for families of departed soldiers as presidency approves 18.4 billion naira to clear backlog of group life insurance. Ministry of Environment destroys illegal animal stockpile, warns against wildlife trafficking. President Bola Tinubu has directed an immediate cost-cutting measures on local and international travels of federal government officials. The directive covers his office, that of the First Lady, the Vice President and his wife. The Presidential Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, at a briefing at the State House, reveals that the new directive, which is to effectively cut recurring expenditure and financial wastage by drastically reducing the number of officials on such travels, will also affect offices of ministers and agencies under them.
On international trips, the President has directed that no more than 20 individuals be allowed to travel with him. That number will be cut down to 5 in the case of the First Lady. The number in the entourage on official international trips for the Vice President will be cut to 5. On the wife of the Vice President is also 5. In terms of local trips, the President has approved a new limit of 25 members of staff to accompany him on domestic trips within the country. The office of the First Lady is now limited to 10 staff members. The Vice President will be limited to 15 members of staff, while his wife will be limited to 10 members of staff on official trips within the country, the same as the First Lady. The President is insistent that the prudence of government officials must reflect the prudence and efficiency of the Nigerian citizens.
This measure, the President has also decided not to travel with large security details from Abuja to other parts of the country anymore.
Due to the directive of the President that the security outfits within states, whether it be police, DSS, or branches of the military, will frontline his protective detail when he travels. I believe we do not need to convince the officers of the federal government of Nigeria of the seriousness of the President with respect to how he will implement his directives. If there is anybody who feels that the directive of the President is not binding on them, who feels that the President will not uphold this directive in implementation and seeks to test it, they would do so at their own peril.
The federal government has approved the establishment of a world-class special textile industry in Benue State within 3 months to boost tailoring services and other related activities. Vice President Kashim Shettima disclosed this at the first expanded National Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Clinic in Makadi, the Benue State capital. Elias Itiav reports that the Vice President also visited the IDP camp in Makadi, where he donated food items and cash to reduce the suffering of the displaced persons.
Micro, small and medium enterprises are said to be the backbone of any healthy economy, as they stimulate economic growth, provide employment opportunities and open new market platforms. The inaugural expanded National Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Clinic provides a platform for entrepreneurs to exhibit their products, services and technologies.
You see that there's a lot of advantage. There's a lot of things to gain in this program.
So it has been a very wonderful opportunity for me to network and meet new people.
Various speakers in their remarks, including the Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia, recognized the importance of MSMEs in supporting local creativity and innovative technologies.
This initiative would certainly enhance access to credit and other financial services, ultimately empowering businesses to thrive and contribute to the economic development of our dear state. The area of water supply, we are providing dams in line to boost the food agriculture, which is also going to support the micro, small and medium scale industries that are thriving in Nigeria.
The Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, said, apart from the establishment of a world-class textile center in the state, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has made available 75 billion naira single-digit facility with the Bank of Industry to enable operators have access to finances to expand their businesses.
Additionally, the Access Bank has made 50 billion naira of their funds available to MSMEs at a discounted rate of 15%, which will significantly increase our loan portfolio and hence our loan performance.
Vice President Shettima also visited the internally displaced persons camp, Ichua, along Joseph Sawan Taka University Road, where he announced a donation of 1,000 bags of assorted cranes, building materials, and 10 million naira for the IDP's immediate needs.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is willing to provide you with tractors, harvesters, planters, fertilizers, and all the ingredients for productive agriculture.
The Vice President therefore called on the political elites in the state to unite for more dividends. In Makudi, Elias, ATF, NTA News.
The presidency has approved the sum of 18.4 billion naira to clear the backlog of group life assurance for the families of departed soldiers from 2011 till date. The Chief of Army Staff was speaking at the inauguration of a remodeled 82 Division Complex and other projects. Kalechi Uchiaha reports.
Describe a military profession as a selfless and disciplined service that should be guarded with every sense of responsibility. Inaugurating the newly remodeled 82 Division Complex and other residential quarters, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Lawaja, noted they are part of welfare agenda aimed at restoring the prestige of the Nigerian Army and to boost the morale of troops while discharging their duties.
I'm more excited to see that the tree that was planted about 30 years ago, that is this headquarters complex. Successive general officer commanding have continued to water it, and the current commanding officer has gone a long way to beautify it and even remodel the reception area.
The Chief of Army Staff, while commending the gallant troops on the parade ground for their unwavering dedication in ensuring the safety of life and property in the country, also salute their courage and resilience in the face of adversity.
I want to assure you that in line with my command philosophy, one of the pillars of which is sound administration, the Army I command is poised to carry out massive renovations in our barracks. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Various commanding officers from the Nigerian Army accompanied the Army Chief on the operational visit. In Enugu, Kelechi Ochiara, NTA News.
Veterans of the Nigerian Armed Forces are appealing to the federal government to review the wide disparity in pension payments within ranks, payment of allowances and other entitlements to improve their welfare after retirement from active service. In a news conference in Abuja, members of the Ministerial Committee note that it has become imperative to sensitize the veterans on ongoing efforts in collaboration with the Ministry of Defense to improve the welfare.
We are seeking bulk payment and use of same template for the payment of the already partially approved Security Department allowance, which we call SDA. 2, we are trying to review the unjustifiable and arbitrary wide disparity in pension payments within all the ranks. Upward reviews of salary and pensions. The establishment of Veterans Federation of Nigeria as in other climes. Then we are also seeking for the overhauling of the National Health Insurance Scheme.
He also highlighted the issue of palliative payments to veterans, which they alleged are still outstanding for many of its members.
I'm most grateful for the gesture. Unfortunately, this gesture of palliative payment are not being properly handled. However, I was in touch with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs that we are going to be paid before the end of January. Worst scenario, first week of February.
Is preparatory to the forthcoming Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration. The Nigerian Navy is synergizing with host communities in Delta State to provide intelligence and logistics needed to stem the tide of criminality. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, disclosed this during a visit to the Delta State Governor. Tessie Coker reports.
Since its establishment in 1956, the Nigerian Navy has continued to play a significant role in fostering peace and security to protect the territorial integrity of the nation, particularly with regards to defending the country's maritime environment. Delta State, being a coastal state, has one of the widest networks of waterways and creeks and is susceptible to aquatic challenges. This has mandated the state's responsiveness towards advancing economic activities in the waterways and coastal areas.
The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria charges the Nigerian Navy with the defense of the nation's territorial integrity and sovereignty, particularly in the maritime domain. And the Armed Forces Act also gives us a wide range of policing responsibilities that has to do with ensuring and protection of all the assets that are within the maritime domain for the economic well-being of this country. Delta State is our strategic partner because the resources that are domiciled within the maritime environment, including the seaborne trade, coastal trade, a major part of it takes place within the rivers and creeks and the coastal areas of Delta State.
For Governor Sheriff Oborori, Delta State waterways have been safe in the past years with the operation of the Nigerian Navy.
The Navy is very key to us, especially in our waterways. You have a very good team in Delta State. A lot has been going on. And I want to tell you that Delta State, that we are very happy with your operation here. What you experience here, the peace you experience here, if you go to other waterways outside this state, is quite different. You cannot go to all those waterways without going with a gunboat. But in our waterways here, you can go without even security.
The Navy's activities are in line with the President's mandate to curb oil theft in the Nigerian waterways. In Asaba, Tessie Coker, NTA News.
You're watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24. More reports when we return. Thanks for being there. Bayelsa State Governor Senator Dwyer Dere has urged the federal government to review its policy of using non-state actors to secure the maritime environment of the nation. Rather, they advocate for the strengthening of the Nigerian Navy to perform its constitutional responsibilities in curtailing oil theft and other criminal activities along coastlines. Fred Owefe reports.
Dere, who received the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, at the State Government House in Yenagoa, expressed concern with the continued use of non-conventional security agencies to secure critical assets in the Niger Delta region. Represented by his deputy, Senator Lawrence Erujakpo, the governor noted that private individuals and groups should not be directly involved in oil pipeline surveillance and protection contracts independent of the conventional security agency. Governor Dere, who however commended the Nigerian Navy for the display of professionalism in combating oil theft in the Niger Delta region, urged the Nigerian Navy to sustain the feat to further stem criminalities along the central waterways.
So I believe that if the Navy is strengthened, you have a party to do that. And I believe, and I want to insist, that the Navy must be allowed to play that role, and exclusively that role. You must be allowed to play that role, exclusively that role. I do not believe that it will begin to raise up militia. You will be surprised that we'll get to when these non-state actors will now try to challenge us.
The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, said the Nigerian Navy could not do without Bayelsa State in view of the state's strategic location and the critical oil and gas facilities it is hosting in the Niger Delta.
We are also asking your continuous support, despite what you have done before, particularly in the area of production of goods, because you know the terrain of the environment, and without adequate platforms, our production cannot be enhanced. So we are seeking the support of the government.
The Chief of Naval Staff was accompanied on the visit by several top-ranking naval officers. Fred Owefe, NTA News.
The federal government is developing an integrated export control plan for ease of export following increased demand for Nigerian products and produce. Details on business news with Comfort Amadou.
We look forward to seeing more mechanization and a lot more that can happen to increase our GDP as a country.
Nigeria has renewed its strategies and efforts to increase the quality and volume of export of indigenous products and produce to global markets to boost its GDP and foreign exchange earnings.
With the new mandate to increase the non-oil export in Nigeria, for us to be able to create jobs, empower people, especially women, and all inclusiveness in terms of small and medium enterprises. A lot of countries are seeking for Nigerian products.
We need to think out of the box so that people can reduce wastage and loss from after sending our products out to be rejected. We can reduce the barriers and cost. It should be a station whereby SON, customs, NAFDAC, whatever have you, can be able to pass them, have a barcode. Once they get to the port, scan, let them go out so that all our perishable products don't get exhausted in our ports.
The initiative to increase financing for exporters in Nigeria through key financial institutions in the country is geared towards enhancing the financial base for MSMEs and exporters to promote non-oil export long term.
Next is the closing figures of trades on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
With business news, Comfort Amadou.
And Governor Basioto is taking judiciary an equitable dispensation of justice, believing that this is pivotal to restoration of faith in the judiciary and protection of the basic tenets of democratic governance. The Cross River State Governor said this while presiding over the swearing-in of 3 High Court judges into the state judiciary. Justina Ethim reports.
Administering the oath of office and oath of allegiance, Governor Basio too emphasized that the principle of separation of powers between the three arms of government is to ensure checks and balance and not for opposition and friction, pledging commitments to the welfare of judicial staff in the states.
The judiciary needs to reinvent itself through self-cleansing procedure. The National Judicial Council of Nigeria should not relent in banging the gavel on erring judicial officers. The judiciary arm of government is no doubt the bastion of democracy by providing the pivot on which equity stands as enshrined in the country's ground norm. The judiciary should also assist the society in the decongestion of correctional centers through the effective use of the alternative dispute resolution option.
Chief Judge of Cross River State, Justice Akun Ikpeme, advised the newly sworn-in judges to discharge their duties without fear or favor, while the elevated judges pledged to live up to expectation.
Judges, the new judges, I want to say, you are coming into an arena that is very, very demanding, extremely demanding. Somebody once said that power should be given to people who are most fearful to use that power. So I want to advise you, as you are sworn in today, it is not for a show of power. It is to learn to burn the midnight oil, to read and research and give good judgment.
We promise to discharge our duties with integrity, with honesty, and above all, with the fear of God.
The three appointed High Court judges sworn into the Cross River State judiciary are Justice Ama Edetekpo, Justice Teresa Agum, and Justice Jalath Oga Agim in Calabar. Justina Etam, NTA News.
The Supreme Court has formulated some critical issues that will guide its final decision on the Plateau State governorship election dispute. The five-man panel of justices led by Justice John Okoro intervenes after the adumbration of counsel in the appeal filed by Governor Caleb Mutfwang seeking an upturn the Court of Appeal judgment that gave the victory to his challenger, Nantiwe Goshwe of the All Progressives Congress. Olabodi Arewa reports.
Following the Court of Appeal judgment of 19th November 2023, upholding the appeal of Nantiwe Goshwe of the All Progressives Congress, saying that he won the Plateau State governorship election, Governor Caleb Mutfwang of the People's Democratic Party approached the Apex Court to overturn the judgment. The governor's appellant said he was validly sponsored and nominated through a party congress by his party, the PDP. His legal team, headed by Kanu Agabi, senior advocate of Nigeria, argued that, contrary to the APC's claims, his party, the PDP, complied with the court order directing it to conduct fresh congresses in order to nominate candidates for various elected positions. Nantiwe Goshwe and his party, the APC, are contending the validity of Governor Mutfwang to even appear on the ballot in the March 2023 governorship election. The panel of justices of the Apex Court observed the issue of party nomination and sponsorship for elective office and the issue of whether there was compliance with the orders of courts in this instance as live issues for determination. INEC, who filed the second appeal in the matter, withdrew the appeal before the court, and it was accordingly struck out.
The issue before that we brought before this court is whether there was compliance with the order of the Court of Appeal of 28th of October 2022.
There's nothing like lack of structure. And then also you will also find that the Congress they said never held is actually a subject matter that no court can deal with. You also had it in court.
The Apex Court has reserved judgment in the matter to a future date. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory has reserved judgment on a preliminary objection filed by Senator Itainang against a defamatory suit instituted against him by the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Dom Emmanuel. Justice Olukayode Adeniyi after entertaining arguments from the counsel to the defendant Mba Nkweni SAN challenging the competence of the suit and the jurisdiction of the court to adjudicate on the matter, as well as counter-argument by the counsel to the claimant Charles Nkweni SAN adjourned the matter to the 5th of March 2023 for ruling on the preliminary objection.
Publication is fundamental in libel suits. No single person said, I read that publication, not even one person. And we said, being fundamental, if there is no publication, there is no libel. So those are among the several issues we have contested in our preliminary objection.
The governor had, through his counsel, Ekerete Udo, alleged that Senator Enang, a former senior special assistant to former President Muhammadu Buhari on Niger Delta affairs, allegedly defamed his character in December 2018 while he was serving as the governor of Akwa Ibom State. Another break beckons. The news continues shortly.